entrepreneur. He's young. He's got a young family. Suddenly, though, he develops a rare medical condition where he lost the use of both of his arms.
I could no longer drive a car, couldn't use a computer, couldn't type, couldn't use a mouse. I could not hold my son, who was about a month old.
Paul and his family were facing a mountain of medical bills, but they're so thankful that they're members of MediShare.
I think if someone asked me like, hey, does MediShare really work? I'm living proof that it works. My 4 children are living proof that it works. My arms, which have been healed, are living proof that MediShare works. Just knowing the emotional peace of mind, knowing that our needs are going to be taken care of when we have some type of medical problem, that is such a huge blessing to us.
It could be a huge blessing to you, too. People save so much and love being part of MediShare. Call now, 844-45-BIBLE. That's 844-45-BIBLE, 844-45-BIBLE.
Your home for Goodland High School athletics. Fort Hays Tech Northwest Tech Tiger basketball, the Denver Broncos, as well as the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer. You're listening to Goodland's Rocket 102.5, KKCI FM, Goodland Colby, an NWKS radio station.
Summer's ending, school's here, and Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland has the trucks to keep you moving. A 2025 Sierra 3500 Pro, $1,000 purchase allowance or 3.9% for 48 months. A 3500 Denali, $2,000 purchase allowance or 3.9%. Or Sierra 1500 over a $6,000 purchase allowance or 0% APR for 36 months. Make this school year the smoothest ride yet. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, or shop online anytime at hurlchev.com.
Convenience just got an upgrade. Farmers State Bank of Oakley is excited to announce the opening of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In. Whether you're grabbing a snack or on the go, you can quickly access your cash without the detour. It's banking made easy, right where you need it. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
Today will be sunny and hot with highs in the low to mid 90s. Winds will be from the southwest around 10 miles per hour, shifting southeast later in the day. A cold front this evening and overnight, bringing a rapid development of showers and thunderstorms along it. There is a marginal risk for severe weather, particularly north of I-70, with the potential of 65 mile an hour wind gusts and 1 1/4 inch size hail. The highest potential for heavy rain is out over Yuma County, Colorado. Lows will be around 60. Tomorrow and Sunday, cooler temperatures with highs 80 to 85. Lows in the upper 50s, and expect a chance for late afternoon, evening, overnight showers and storms as disturbances work off the front range. Sunday afternoon and evening, there is a marginal risk for severe storms with the potential for large hail and damaging winds. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a significant cool down is expected, along with periods of light showers and rain. Highs will be in the low to mid 70s with lows between 50 and 55. This meteorologist Chris Romick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
When you gotta go, but there's nowhere to go, who you gonna call? Topside Portables and Pumping, that's who. Weddings, job sites, farm parties, they've got clean, reliable porta potties that don't stink, literally. And if your septic tank smells worse than last year's chili cook-off, they'll pump it out fast. No mess, no fuss. Family owned, Heartland values, always ready. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. When duty calls, they answer.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pestaway in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pestaway today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
As kids head back to school, it's the perfect time to get your home and yard ready for fall. At Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Colby and Goodland, they've got you covered. From all-season ultimate fertilizer and building materials to cozy patio heaters and furniture. Fire up family meals with a Traeger grill or Blackstone griddle and give your home a new look with Benjamin Moore paints. Whatever your project, big or small, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware is here to help. That's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Your community, your projects, your ace. Summer's ending, school's here, and Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland has the trucks to keep you moving. A 2025 Sierra 3500 Pro, $1,000 purchase allowance or 3.9% for 48 months. A 3500 Denali, $2,000 purchase allowance or 3.9%. Or Sierra 1500 over a $6,000 purchase allowance or 0% APR for 36 months. Make this school year the smoothest ride yet. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, or shop online anytime at hurlchev.com.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
The amount of money getting thrown around to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
The High Plains only local sports talk show.
Knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Not this again.
Yes, this again.
Covering it all from the preps
Fastball swinging a miss and a strikeout there for Kaysen Cedarstrom.
to the pros.
Mahomes keeps it on an RPO at the 5. Gets a lead block. He goes into the end zone near side. Touchdown, Kansas City.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the Insurance Agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
You want to know what the ultimate, how do I want to say? The ultimate tough start to the day in the broadcaster world is the computer update overnight. That is what absolutely throws things off on a broadcast with your boy. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love technology and I understand it to a pretty good extent. But, last night apparently computers had to update, had updates coming through. And so this morning, nothing works the way that you usually do. So now you're trying to just pick up the pieces and make the most of what it is. But a computer update is throwing your boy off here this morning. But we'll push through. Good Friday morning, everybody. Off and rolling here on August the 22nd here on the Morning Blitz. Really appreciate you tuning in no matter what way you are doing so, whether it's the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on X, Facebook, YouTube. If you are tuning in through the radio on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 or the audio stream at nwksradio.net, or maybe you're listening through the podcast. Shout out to listener Ryan, who texted me. He's on the podcast, and appreciate him tuning in and making the Blitz a part of his day on the podcast page. Once you can catch the Morning Blitz anywhere you listen and get your podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. We've got it there. Just search for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer. But shout out to listener Ryan, who let me know that he was listening through the podcasts yesterday. So we got a busy show for you today. We will be talking with Riley Gates of On3 Sports. Big news yesterday in the world of college football. The SEC has announced it's going to be playing 9 conference games, joining the likes of the Big 12 and the Big 10. And that pretty much means if the SEC does it, the ACC is going to be doing it too as well. There's reasonings for this, but we will discuss that more with Riley Gates. We'll get his thoughts on Kansas and Kansas State, because that's right. Tomorrow we have college football, the Aer Lingus Classic, Kansas State and Iowa State at 10 a.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Central Time on a 100.3 The Ride or ESPN if you'd like to watch. And later on in the day, I think it's 4:30 Mountain, 5:30 Central Time, KU and Fresno State. And that's going to be on, I think, Fox, National Fox on television, of course, on Flyover Country 97.9 with our friend Brian Haney, who, of course, we visited with yesterday. So college football is here. We'll be predicting, or I will be predicting, Kansas and Kansas State's football records for 2025 coming up here in just a little bit. So In other words, we have made it. Sports are here. We have made it. I was just looking at, you've got the Chiefs, by the way, in action tonight. The Broncos on Saturday to wrap up the preseason. The baseball season continues to roll along, and the Royals remain hot. Got another win last night. There's big time volleyball going on this weekend. I know Colby on the local side, Colby Community College volleyball is getting their season underway today down at Midland Community College as part of the Midland Community College tournament. They've got 3 matches this weekend, 1 today and 2 tomorrow, I believe. So they've got the third-ranked Lady Trojans have got their season opening up here officially today. Big, humongous volleyball tournament in Lincoln, Nebraska with the ABCA First Serve happening. We'll touch on that more in the walk-off, but that's a massive conglomerate of just phenomenal volleyball programs in women's college volleyball. I mean, the best of the best are going to be facing off here about 5-6 hours, car drive to the north and a little bit or to the east and a little bit to the north. So, yeah, sports are here. We have made it. We have made it. From your boys' perspective, thank goodness. We have made it to sports season. And so really excited to talk plenty more as we get into the thick of the sports season. And, I also tonight, I can't forget jamborees. I think there are some jamborees. I know Goodland volleyball is in a jamboree. I think Colby's in the jamboree as well. I think they're all going to Phillipsburg, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check that. I know I wrote that down in my other notes here just a couple days ago. I'm seeing where that is. Yes, Goodland, Colby, Norton, all going to Phillipsburg for volleyball jamboree tonight. So busy sports day. Love to say that. Love to hear it. It's great. Instead of trying to just pull my hair out and figure out what are we going to talk about, we have things to discuss. So we'll get to the weekend slate. Riley Gates coming up later on in the program. And, of course, we'll talk KU K-State football records here in just a matter of seconds. As always, the F&B Bank text line is open and working. That is one thing that is operational today. So if you'd like to chime in with your thoughts, you can let us know at 785-899-2222. That is the F&B Bank text line number. If you would love to be a part of the Morning Blitz, text us your questions, your thoughts, opinions, whatever it may be. We'd love to hear from you throughout the show. All right, let's dive in. So this week we've kind of been leading, building our way towards Saturday when this college football season opens, and Kansas and Kansas State will kick off the college football season. I wish my audio was working. Chris Kleiman had a great quote yesterday. He was there speaking to the media ahead of the Aer Lingus Classic, and he talked about how he thinks that it is important in today's age of college football that, that Kansas State, in his case, Kansas State is playing on week 0. He loves the fact that they're the only game on. He loves that fact. He loves that pressure, and he's excited to get this season underway. And that was a very interesting quote from him. It's week 0, but there's only like 4 games that are going to really be played of the FBS variety. And so let's be one of those 4 games. The other one is Kansas. I'm sure Lance Leipold kind of reflects those same thoughts, being on week 0, having kind of the nation watch us. And it's a great time to make a statement. It's such a massive, massive game. And we'll get to that here in just a matter of moments for Kansas State here this Saturday against Iowa State. I think it's just absolutely huge. So anyway, we've got plenty to get to here, and I want to dive in, get things cooking with, once again, predict. So we're building up this thing that we talked about, what were the toughest games on the schedule for both Kansas and Kansas State. We visited with Wyatt Thompson and also our good friend Brian Haney as well, talking about the Wildcats and the Jayhawks and what they expect to see out of the teams that they cover on a full-time basis. So I'm going to start with KU here. I was looking up, a lot of betting services have the over-under win total for Kansas at 7.5. That's where they sit at this point in time. 7.5 is where they sit right now, does the Kansas Jayhawks. And I was looking, I went through and ranked the schedule. And remember I said yesterday, and I'll repeat again, the schedule is gettable early on. And so you want to make your hay early on in the season. You've got some very winnable games against some of the lower teams in the Big 12. A couple of easier non-conference games from what we know, and of course a real challenging one on the road at Missouri. So I guess as I start off the season here on Saturday, I feel like just the juice, the energy that is going to be flowing through the fans that come to the new booth. I mean, if there was a football stadium that needed revamped, rebuilt, redone, it was the old booth. I mean, that thing was old. And you bring in a whole bunch of new, you bring a whole bunch of excitement for the fan base. They're going to be buzzing with energy. They're going to be excited to be there. I think the crowd is going to be great, and I think they're going to be able to take down Fresno State. I think the momentum is too much on Kansas's side to lose this game, particularly with Fresno State, who is a good program overall, but once again, with another first-year head coach in Matt Enos. Kansas will have to stop the run. That'll be big. But I just feel like the early energy from the crowd is going to push them to victory. I think they're going to pick up a win versus Wagner. It's the easiest game on their schedule, so they're off to a 2-0 start. Then Saturday, September 6th, on the road at Missouri. An afternoon kickoff of 1:30. That's a very tough place to play. Kansas State lost there on a long field goal a few years ago. I think it's going to be a really, it's a rivalry game. Missouri people don't like Kansas. Kansas people don't like Missouri. There's going to be a lot of hostility, one would think, in this game. I don't see Kansas, at least at this point in time, having enough to get it done against Missouri. I know Missouri's breaking in a new quarterback, but at the same time, they have one of the better defenses probably in the SEC, and that'll make a challenging for a Kansas offense that I think is going to have to score some points this year in order to win. But I think they drop that at that third game of the season. They get to 2-1. Then they have a bye. They get rested. They get recouped. They get a few things fixed up. And then I think they rattle off 3 consecutive wins. I think they win at home against West Virginia once again in first year of Rich Rodriguez. They beat Cincinnati, who does have some very good players, but I think because once again Kansas is at home, should be able to get it done. It's one of those toss-up games, kind of the same things with UCF. It's the 3 toss-up games. If you play good, I think you're going to win. If you don't play good, you're probably going to lose. West Virginia, Cincinnati, UCF. And I'm just going to be on the positive side here. Say Kansas plays good for 3 consecutive games, and that puts them at 5-1. They make their hay early on in the season. I just have faith that they're going to be able to run the ball with Leshaun Williams and Daniel Highshaw, and Jalen Daniels is going to, if this is the best wide receiving core that he's had in his time, that's saying something. I'm going to say that offense is going to put up some points, and the defense, which Brian Haney said, especially defensive line, is pretty darn good. I think they're going to be able to, or maybe underrated, I think it was more of the term that he used. I just think they're going to be able to get off to a 5-1 start. And they need to do that because the rest of the schedule is daunting. After that, October 11th, they are at Texas Tech. I think they will probably fall to the Red Raiders. It's a tough place to play. I think Texas Tech is going to have a really good season. They return so many pieces. I think they're going to have a good year. Probably the game of the season in my mind is next, October 25th. That's Kansas State. I also put a star next to, I think, is probably the biggest game of the season for both Kansas and Kansas State. And for Kansas, I believe it is this Kansas State game. You've lost 16 in a row. Can you snap it? I don't know. Kansas State could be in the thick of trying to win a Big 12 title and clinch themselves a CFP spot in the bracket. Once again, they've won 16 in a row. Until you've proven that you can beat them, I'm going to go with the team that continues to win. So they lose that game against Kansas State. So after rattling off 3 wins in a row and getting to 5-1, they drop 2 in a row to put themselves now at 5-3, going into a game against Oklahoma State, where once again, so many question marks. I have no idea what to expect of Oklahoma State. From what I just know right now is that they were really bad last year. They went out and retooled the roster. Will that come together? They're playing with a very young quarterback who really does not have really any collegiate experience. And so I'm guessing that could be a Kansas win because they are at home. That's also nice, too. They are at home for that Oklahoma State game on November the 1st. So they bounce back and get a win there. I think they go on the road to Arizona the following weekend on November 8th and pick up a win there. And that not only gets them into bowl eligibility, but gets them to 7 wins and puts them in a nice spot there. So I think they get to 7 wins at this point in time. And then they finish up the season with a road game at Iowa State, where once again, we know Lance Leipold has been great against the Cyclones. He's 3-1 with 3 upsets. Just don't think he has enough firepower this year on this team from what we know to hang with Iowa State, who has a lot coming back for a team that won 11 games last year. I just think Iowa State's going to be very good. And so I think they lose that game. and then they lose against Utah at home. I'm just really big on Utah. A lot of teams are. I think last year was kind of just a flash in the pan, a fluke that they had a bad year. If they can keep Devin Dampier healthy, he can be dynamic both passing and running, and their defense is elite. And Kansas will have a hard time. So I think they probably end up losing that game on Black Friday, does KU. So they wrap up the season with a 2-game skid. But they get to bowl eligibility. 7.5 wins is the total that I have. So if they said 7.5 wins, I'm taking what is the under at this point in time. So I've got 7 wins. So I'm taking the under. The over-win total for KU that I saw is 7.5. I'm taking the under. I'm going to say 7-5 is going to be the record for Kansas. Once again, with losses coming to Missouri on the road, at Texas Tech, home versus Kansas State, at Iowa State, and home versus Utah. I've got losses there. I think Kansas State is the biggest game on the schedule. The Oklahoma State game is a big question mark for me. Just don't know much about Oklahoma State at this point in time, but we'll see. But 7-5 is the record that I have currently for the Kansas Jayhawks ahead of their season opening game against Fresno State, which I do see them winning. I just see way too much momentum from the crowd and the juice of the players from breaking in this new stadium. You don't want to lose this game. You want to win it. And I just think they're going to get that done to get to 1-0. And then they'll be 2-0 because they'll beat Wagner. I mean, if they don't, it's going to be a really bad season. Okay, so there you go. I've got Kansas once again sitting at 7-5 is the record I have for them predicted for the upcoming season. They will make a bowl game and get back to that bowl eligibility. The 17th ranked Kansas State Wildcats, the over-under win total according to Vegas, 8.5 at this point in time in the season. The biggest game on the schedule, I think, is the very first one. I think it is the biggest game on the schedule. I think it decides whether Kansas State goes to the CFP or they don't. I think it's that big of a game. This game is so massive. The world will be watching. Well, the nation, how about the world? The nation will be watching, to an extent, some of the world. But the nation will be watching at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Central Time. Kansas State kicking off against Iowa State in beautiful Dublin, Ireland at gorgeous Aviva Stadium, that beautiful field that they play on there. Everything's so green and lush. But I think it's the biggest game of the season. And for some reason in my gut, it says that Kansas State will not win this. That is where I have sat for a while now. I've thought about this game a lot. I just don't think Kansas State wins this game versus Iowa State. Avery Johnson is a great quarterback, and he could prove me wrong by putting up some massive numbers and having a great showing. I just question Kansas State's offensive line and how well it gels together here early on in the season. I question that, and I know Iowa State is going to be pressuring them, and that offense for Iowa State is very good. And Kansas State has not had a lot of luck against Iowa State the past few years. Iowa State has ran it right at them, and they have found ways to win. And I just think that trend continues when you bring back pretty much your entire offensive line for Iowa State, your top 2 running backs and a quarterback. And yes, I know you don't have your big play wide receivers, but I don't care. Those guys are a dime a dozen. You can find some guys who can catch the ball when you need them to. They've got 2 great tight ends, led by Benjamin Bramer there for Iowa State. And I just think Iowa State gets it done. So I guess I'm going to take Iowa State to beat Kansas State in the season opener at this point in time. Just how I feel. Kansas State could prove me wrong. Absolutely. They could come out. Offensive line could be great. Their defense could shut everybody down. They could make some big plays. But right now, the way I feel, just my gut says Iowa State is going to be taking that first game from Kansas State. So they start off the year 0-1, which is not the way you want to start ever. But I think they're able to recover. They have North Dakota, which honestly will probably be their next 2 games will be challenging. If we're being completely honest, it will be challenging for Kansas State. Coming home and trying to once again readjust your clock could be hard against North Dakota, but I still think there's plenty of talent on Kansas State's side to get it done. As I mentioned on Tuesday with Wyatt Thompson, the game that scares me the most early on in the season, in the first half of the season for the most part, is the next one. Army at home. Wyatt Thompson made a phenomenal point talking about how, Fort Riley being there, they're probably going to come there and cheer for their Army brothers could put a little bit of extra pressure on the Kansas State. And I don't care who you are, having to face that triple option attack when you don't practice against it every day is super challenging. I do not predict Kansas State losing this game. I predict them winning. But I do predict that it is going to be a close game and one you're going to be on the edge of your seat. I do believe it is going to come down to the final few minutes that Kansas State might have to score late. They're not going to get many offensive possessions. It's a game of limited possessions when you play these triple option squads. And I just feel like as if that Army K-State game is going to be tight. It's going to be entertaining. And for K-State fans, it's going to be nerve-wracking. But I still think Kansas State able to get it done against the Army and the Golden Knights. So they get back after dropping the first game. They win those next two games. They go on the road to Arizona. By then, their time clocks are officially set back. They play well against Arizona on the road. They pick up another win there, and then I believe they go to UCF and win that game as well. And so after losing the first game of the season, the Wildcats rattle off 4 consecutive wins to get to 4-1. Before they then go on the road to Baylor, which Wyatt Thompson said in the program, he thought it was probably one of the most challenging games on the schedule. I would agree. Sawyer Robertson is a phenomenal quarterback. Baylor brings a lot back on both sides of the ball, particularly offensively with a lot of guys that scored a lot of points and put up a lot of yards. And defensively, they were good last year, and they bring people back. And Dave Aranda, who's a defensive mastermind, thinks that they're going to be even better this year. I'll take him at his word. It is a tough loss on the road at Baylor, putting you at 4-2 through the first 6 games of the season. Then Kansas State gets on a roll again. They are able to take down TCU. They're at home. They go to Kansas in a tight game, but win. And then they take on Texas Tech, and they're able to get a win there. They are at home for that game. Once again at the Bill, I think helps them get that win across the finish line, and they win that. And then they win another game on the road at Oklahoma. I know that has been a house of horrors for Kansas State in the previous years. Once again, we don't know enough about Oklahoma State at this point in time. I am saying that they're going to be able to go down there and get a win. And so Kansas State rattles off then another 4 wins to get to what is 8-2. 8-2 going into the final 2 games of the season. They then, on November 22nd, go to Utah, where I have them losing. I don't like this matchup for Kansas State at all. I don't like it for anybody. It's late in the year. Utah could have a lot of momentum. Defensively, they're elite. Their quarterback is great. Or their quarterback and their offensive coordinator are proven to be great, and their offensive line is great. So I think that marriage is going to work. And I just don't – I see that game kind of going not as bad, but similar to the one in Provo last year, where you end up losing that game. Now, I don't think it's going to be as lopsided of a loss, but I do think that Kansas State ends up losing that game. It's a humongous game. I mean, it is number 2 on importance behind Iowa State, and it's not far behind either. It is number 2 on importance because that game there could push you into the college football playoff. It could knock you out of the college football playoff. And in this case, I think it probably does. But they come home and wrap up the season on Saturday, November 29th, hosting Coach Prime in Colorado, and I think K-State gets the win. So when it's all said and done, I have Kansas State going 9-3 here in 2025 with losses to Iowa State in the season opener tomorrow, at Baylor on October 4th, and then at Utah on November 22nd. That is what I sit here right now, 9-3 for Kansas State as they get set to kick off the 2025 season. The whole season to me could change with a win tomorrow. If they beat Iowa State, that is a lot of momentum that you can carry into the next handful of games. You go in unbeaten probably to Baylor, and you have a good chance of possibly winning that because of that momentum. And like I said, when you lose the first game, you lose some grace when you're in the race for the CFP. When you drop to 0-1, you're already behind the 8 ball. You can't afford to drop another game anytime soon. So that's the hard part about this. If you win it, once again, you're ahead of the game and you have some grace there. But if you lose this game against Iowa State, I just think it's going to be challenging because Iowa State, I think, is going to have a really good season this year. But there you go. So I've got Kansas State taking the over. They have them at 8.5, does Vegas. I'm going to take the over on that. So 9-3 for Kansas State, 7-5 for Kansas, taking the under, their win total at 7.5. But 7-5 for KU, Kansas State 9-3. My predictions for the 2025 football seasons for the Wildcats and the Jayhawks. And we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. And then we will know more. That's the craziest thing. Like, I enjoy making predictions, but at the same time, I hate it because we don't know anything. We don't know. Kansas State's offensive line could be great. Kansas's wide receiving unit could be the best we've ever seen. The defense, though, could be really bad. We just don't know. And that's the same thing for every single team on the schedule. I guarantee there is a game on the schedule, on both of these teams' schedules, that is either more difficult or much more easier than we thought it was going to be when the season kicks off tomorrow. Guaranteed. We just don't know it, and it's even harder now to predict than ever because of all the changing landscapes of college football. But 7-5 for Kansas, 9-3 for Kansas State. My predictions for both those teams. Okay, let's get to a break. When we'll come back, we will be visiting with Riley Gates, our good friend from On3 Sports. Stick around. Plenty more to get to here on a Friday edition of the Morning Blitz.
We've been serving ag families for generations because we believe farming isn't just a job, it's a legacy. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your operation, F&B Bank has flexible lending solutions designed for you. This is Loan Officer Kennedy Frank at F&B Bank. We're proud to be your hometown ag lender, member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, Jared Law with the Andersons at Overland Park, Kansas with your morning market update. It's Friday, August 22nd, the overnight session. Set corn unchanged 387 1/4. December down 1/4% at 411 1/2. March down 1/4% at 429 1/2. Soybeans on the September up 2 1/2, 1037 even. November up 3 1/2, 1059 1/2. Jan up 3 1/4, 1077. KC wheat on the Sep down 1, 502 1/4. December down 1, 525. March down 1/2 cent, 543 3/4. Chicago wheat off a penny at 506. Feeder cattle finished yesterday 356, 37 1/2. Live cattle 238.55. Lean hogs 89, 92 1/2. Crude oil futures up 15 cents a barrel at 63.57. Gold futures down 13.50 ounce. 3,327. Silver down 27 cents at 37. U.S. dollar index up 4 points at 98.55. Dow futures up 149 at 45,005. S&P futures up 12 3/4, 6,401. Need to move any cash, grant, or want to talk about risk management, you can reach out to myself, Jared Law, Tom Sudo, Tyler Dosh, 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, you can reach out to John Hinkey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Farmers and ranchers, are you looking to sell your equipment at auction for zero fees and zero commissions? Well, then you need to check out Hayden Outdoors' new online
few moments of summer, to say the least. Trying to just put a last few touching moments on summer before we get diving deep into school. Well, pretty much after Labor Day is the best way to put it. So, all right, waiting patiently on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline is our good friend Riley Gates from On3 Sports. Good morning, sir. How are we doing today? Football's here. Thank goodness.
Football's here. I'm staring out the lake. It's about 67 degrees right now in Minnesota, and I can't complain.
Oh, man, we called you on the Minnesota vacay?
Yeah, it's a little vacation. I'm still working, but we drove up here hanging out for the week. So, yeah, you got me up here.
So we get Riley Gates when he's in complete relax mode with his feet dangling, his toes dangling in that Minnesota lake water, one of the 10,000 lakes.
It's colder up here than it is
Oh,
back there.
I bet. I mean, do you even really like to go swimming when you're there? Like, I bet it's a lot cooler, or is it refreshing? I don't even know. I've never been to Minnesota during the summer.
I've not touched it this week. In July I did. It was good. It was fine. But put my feet in the other day. It was a little chilly, so I'll probably just stay behind the computer and keep working and watching some football.
Yeah, you know, when you think about it, I mean, the window for lake swimming in Minnesota is not very big. Not real big, or you better be a lot tougher, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah. I think I think it's a little different than swimming back in the 105-degree Kansas weather.
Well, it's certainly great to have you on, and glad that you're joining us here today. I wanted to have you on because college football gets underway tomorrow, man. And like I said, we're all super excited. I'm sure you are as well. We'll get to some Kansas State thoughts with you here in just a matter of moments. But the news yesterday, the big news that you texted me that I did not know about, but you let me know kind of ahead of time, is the news that, that there's going to be 9 games played in the SEC going forward. My first thought was, it's amazing what the committee can accomplish when they put their foot down on something. That was my thought, first ever thought.
Yeah. No, it's funny. When I texted you, I was kind of trying more to warn you that something could be happening. And then I was like, oh, I didn't realize I was about 90 minutes away from tipping you off on the news. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's been, I mean, this has been 2 or 3 years in the making where the SEC's just kind of been doing their 8-game thing. They've been playing that, they play the conference games, and then about every November, every SEC team plays directional state school that nobody really cares to watch that game, and kind of just puts everybody on edge with watching SEC football. So now we actually get to watch another week of actually good quality SEC football, which will be a little bit of a change, but it definitely impacts the playoff structure. It'll boost SEC teams' strength of schedule. It'll boost their resume, which probably in the end will upset people, because it probably means the SEC will get another team in the playoff, whatever size that ends up being in a year or two. But I think it's good for college football. Nobody needs to watch Alabama beat up on Louisiana Tech or whatever on Thanksgiving weekend.
Heck, that'd be a good game, Riley. I mean, we're talking like DeVry or something like that. Not Louisiana Tech.
I guess Louisiana Tech's probably a bad pull there. Northwestern State, something
there we
like
go.
that. But
better.
It really didn't serve us much good as college football fans. I don't think it really helped anybody except the SEC kind of boost their, oh, hey, look, Alabama put up 62 last week. Well, yeah, they weren't playing anybody. So it'll be an adjustment, and I don't really think we'll see the full scope of its impact until we know what the playoff expands to, whether it's 14, 16, hopefully not 24 like the Big Ten pitched. No, I think it's good for college football as a whole.
I think the thing that I like is that SEC teams are still required to schedule at least one additional high-quality non-conference opponent from the ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, or Notre Dame each season. So that means you're going to get 10 quality games out of 12 in the SEC. And I'm assuming that that's going to force, like the Big Ten was doing that, for example, and the Big 12 was doing that. But, then they were starting to say, well, if SEC is not going to do it, then we're not going to start scheduling in these games. It forces everybody to continue to put out good games during the non-conference slate as well.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State's probably the team this year that's been the most highly criticized for not playing a good non-conference schedule, and it is really soft. Pull it up. It's not very good. And Pat Kraft, the AD, was asked about it this week, just hey, what's your response to how highly criticized your schedule is? And he beat around the bush. He kind of defend it, but he said verbatim, he said, it's just about winning games. And that really is what it is. Like, if you win 9 or 10 games, you're going to be in the playoff discussion, whether you played Alabama and Oklahoma and or whether you played a bunch of nobodies. And that's really kind of the disturbing fact of it, is that, yeah, you need to play good teams, but not really that much. As long as you beat your conference, as long as you're in the mix for the conference championship, you're going to be in the playoff discussion. And so, yeah, this does kind of end up forcing teams to actually play some competition, to actually test themselves, and not just coast in on a 10-win season where they beat 8 conference teams and 4 nobodies or whatever like that. So it's nice to it's not really level playing field, I wouldn't say, because like, you do still, at the end of the day, you're playing. Each conference obviously like has different standards. The Big 12 is just not going to be as hard as playing some of the Big 10 or the SEC teams, but you do kind of get that equal comparison of, well, hey, we had 2 Power 5s in our non-conference schedule. Well, so did we, as opposed to having 0 like we have with say a Penn State this year, where they're not really playing that many good teams.
But if you look at Penn State, look at what Michigan did. Look what Ohio State did. I mean, their non-conference slate was crap too the last 2 years, and they ended up winning a national championship. So
sure.
why not? I mean, if it's going to win you natty, might as well.
Until it penalizes you, there's no reason to really go out of your way to schedule hard. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't necessarily blame teams for doing what they need to do in order to get into that playoff field. It's just more like, as a fan, you don't really want to see that. Like, especially with the team, I keep using Penn State, but this is a year where Penn State's supposed to be a national championship contender. Drew Aller's supposed to be in the Heisman talk, and I'm supposed to care that they're playing a bunch of nobodies. Like, we don't really know who Penn State is until October, which is kind of upsetting.
Riley Gates is our guest here from On3 Sports on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline. Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see. And the ACC, I'm guessing, is going to follow suit, I would guess, because they just kind of pretty much do whatever the SEC does, right?
and right now the ACC is trying to hold on. So, yeah, I don't think they will really be the one to push back on this. I think we'll see them kind of quickly fall right in line.
Yeah.
Oh, my dog wants to be on the radio, too.
All right. I love this. This is great. A family affair. Better go get Kay and let her get on the air as well. That'd be great. So anyway, Riley Gates, our guest here on the Morning Blitz. Kansas and Kansas State kick off the season here this weekend. And I don't know about you, but I just feel like this Kansas State-Iowa State game will start there. It's just absolutely massive for both teams. I mean, it could almost be, to an extent, a college football playoff elimination game.
Honestly, yeah. And I'm going to be honest, that sucks. Like, it really does. I don't think it's fair. But if the loser of this game undoubtedly has to almost win out and make it to Arlington, like there's not a path that exists where K-State can lose this game, or Iowa State. I'm just going to use K-State since we're talking to Kansas people. K-State cannot lose this game and not make the Big 12 championship and still find a way in the playoff. That path doesn't exist. It just flat out doesn't. And I'm sorry that that's the case. I'm not trying to kill the season before it gets going, but when you just look at the fact of it, the Big 12 got one team in last year. It was the conference champion. You need to win the conference to have the best chance in the Big 12 and honestly, almost any chance. Like, the Big 12 runner-up is rarely going to get in. It would take a crazy scenario to happen. So obviously you're not getting in if you don't even make the conference championship game. So while it is a season opener and yeah, there's still 11 games to go, anything can happen, you have to win this game if you want to go to the college football. So it's a pretty high standard. But I mean, I do think at the same time it's this. I'm not really one that's gonna. I'm kind of at a point with the Chris Kleiman era with Avery Johnson where I'm saying, okay, show me. Like, I know he's really good. I know Avery Johnson's a stud. I know Chris Kleiman's a good coach. But I've also been watching him coach this team for 6-7 years. I watched Avery Johnson play football last year. I don't need to see growth. I don't need to see wait and see. I need to see results. And the fact of the matter is, if you can't go out on Saturday and beat an Iowa State team that you've had 6 months to prepare for, then what are we doing here? Do I really think that you're going to be that much better by November or December? Do I really want to see you in the playoff to go get, run by Alabama or Georgia or Clemson or somebody? Like, no, I hate to be like blunt. I hate to be brutal about the situation, but if they can't go out and beat Iowa State on Saturday, I really don't think they deserve to be in the playoffs. So yeah, you got to go win this game.
How do you feel about this game? Just as you sit here right now with your toes in that lake water.
I feel good about it. I really do. If I'm a K-State fan, I just think, yeah, there's been some injuries. We saw the injury report come out that that's a new thing the Big 12 is doing this year. They're making teams list their injuries. And obviously your neck of the woods, Lincoln Pure, is not playing. So I know that's kind of discouraging to a lot of fans, but I think they're ready. I think they're good to go. I do think there's something to be said about having December to August to prepare for this game. It's not in the middle of the Big 12 play. It's not a game that's going to sneak up on you. And I think that's kind of where Chris Kleiman shines. I think every now and then he has a letdown game where, it's middle of the season. It's catching up on him and things just kind of slip through, but I don't think that's going to happen here. So I think Avery Johnson has taken that step that I just was talking about. Hey, I need to see it. Well, I think he has, and I think he's going to show us that he has. Obviously, you got to go prove it. It's not a given, but I do think they'll go out there. I don't want to say an easy, because I don't think there's an easy way to win a top 25 game, but I just have a lot of faith in this team. I don't know why. I'm not playing the homer card. I'm not trying to do that, but I do think they'll be really good. I do think they're going to come out hot and ready to go, and I think K-State starts the year 1-0.
Be fascinating. Kansas opens up pretty much a brand new football stadium for the most part against Fresno State. How do you think KU responds after a down year last year?
That's a good question. I mean, it's a really good question. And I hate to just take the easy way out. I hate to lean on the obvious statement, but it just comes down to how healthy is Jalen Daniels. I think everybody's saying that he's healthy. I think everybody's saying he's good to go, but how healthy is he? I don't know. You don't know. None of us really know. And I think anybody that's had a back injury, whether it's in sports or in life, knows that it's going to sneak up on you at any point. And I think it's a pretty big concern. If he's healthy, I think they're, an 8-9 win team, probably threaten to make the Big 12 championship game. If he doesn't, or, if he misses a game or two here and there, if he isn't fully healthy, I think you're looking at a 7 or 6 win team. I think the loss of the guys that left last year is probably a little bit bigger of a concern than some people are making out to be. And I don't think it really takes a genius to know, hey, unhealthy quarterback, we're not going to be very good this year. So it all rides on his back, literally, a back injury, whether or not KU is going to be a Big 12 contender or is KU going to go to the Rate Bowl again. It's just, I think that's kind of what we're looking at here. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Hey, he's been resting. He's been recovering, and he's probably going to start out healthy. But after 6 games, after 7 games, how does that weigh down on him? How does he respond to getting hit? How does he respond to the wear and tear? And that's something that only time will be able to tell.
Riley Gates on 3 Sports. Join us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. I've got Kansas State finishing 9-3. I've got Kansas going 7-5. Do those records sound ridiculous?
Not ridiculous. No. I think I took the under 7.5 on KU. I think that's what I
did
got.
too. Yep, I did.
And it's not so much like, I think KU is going to be bad. I think I was just looking at their schedule. It's a lot of games where there's toss-ups. So if every toss-up goes their way, yeah, they can win 8-9 games. But toss-ups don't go your way. 9-3 for K-State. I will say that if K-State, honestly, this sounds crazy, 9-3 is a disappointment, man. I mean, it really is. K-State.
I've got them 9-3, Riley, because I think they're going to lose tomorrow, and that's going to drop them behind the 8 ball. That's why I think they're 9-3, is they lose that first game, and that puts them behind the 8 ball. Now they still pick up ground and win some. They go on a couple of 4-game winning streaks in my prediction, but that's how I get to 9-3 is because they dropped this first game.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you think they lose tomorrow, which is a fair, I mean, there's no reason to just like assume, hey, we win this game, hey, we're going to win. Like, it's a toss-up game. It's a 3-point spread. If they lose tomorrow, 9-3, 8-4, absolutely. But I think if you go 9-3 this year, it is kind of to a point where it's like, where are we going to go from here? Like, this is supposed to be the big year where you make that step, where you go forward. And I hate to set this, like K-State last year we saw it. They went 8-4. Everybody was like, oh, hey, it's really hard to win 8 games. We should be happy going 8-4. That's fine. I'll take 8-4 every year versus 4-8, 5-7, but I don't want to just go 8-4 every year. I don't want to just be going to a good bowl game every year. I want to take that next step. So yeah, I'm going to set the standard a little higher. Like, I want to see them win 10 games. I want to see them firmly in the Big 12 championship game and not just like getting a favorable path to Arlington where a bunch of things break their way and they luck in at 9-3. Like, no, 9-3 would be fine. I don't think you're crazy to put them at 9-3, but I will say that if they're 9-3 at the end of the year, I'm going to be a little disappointed because I think the schedule breaks in their favor. I think they have the team, and I don't really think they have that much of a challenge to win 10 or 11 games.
Fair points all the way around. We'll let you go on this one. Who are you picking for a national champion this year?
I knew you were going to do that to me. Man, that's a good question. I do have a ticket right now on Clemson. I got him.
Nice.
I think I got him back in June.
Interesting.
I just saw a lot of value. It was plus 1,600. It's now down to like plus 900. But it's just more of a value play than anything. I think Clemson has like a 95% chance to win the ACC. Like, I just do. I don't think the ACC is very good. I think maybe Florida State might push them a little bit if they get good play out of Castellanos, but I think Clemson probably comes out of the ACC. So I have Clemson to win the national championship, but I'm not like gung ho. Hey, they're gonna win it, because it just takes a lot from Cade Klubnik to really kind of not be mistake prone. He needs to take another step and go up to that next level. If you put a gun to my head right now and said, hey, this team has got to win the national championship or else, man. Honestly, I think a lot of people are kind of just sleeping on Alabama, which is crazy to say. I know that doesn't make sense. Sleeping on Alabama doesn't sound right, but like, I'm hearing Penn State love. I'm hearing Clemson love. I'm hearing, all these other teams. And here comes Kalen DeBoer off this ho-hum 9-3 first year at Alabama. Oh, he's got a new quarterback, but I think Ty Simpson's better than Jalen Miller was. I really do. I think he's got a defense that's going to go crazy. Probably gun to my head, Alabama.
That's all right.
But I do like Clemson, and I sneaky like LSU if Garrett Nussmeier plays up to another level.
That's the best part about it. We don't know. It's the first game. We're going to learn so much over the next just handful of weeks and so much more over the course of a season. We'll see what happens. He's Riley Gates of On3 Sports. Riley, it's always great, my friend. Enjoy the rest of that time up there in the land of 10,000 lakes, and we'll visit when you're back in the state of Kansas. All right, buddy? Yes, sir. You give me like give me like 2 or 3 weeks. I'll watch these week 0, week 1 games, and then I'll tell you not only who I think, but who will win. You're on. We'll have it a lot firmer. 3 weeks from today. You heard it here, folks. Riley Gates predicts the national champion. All right. Sounds good, man. Have a good one. We'll talk soon. All right, Ross. Anytime. Great stuff there from Riley Gates of On3 Sports. All right. We're going to take our final break. Come back, wrap the show next here on The Blitz.
As kids head back to school, it's the perfect time to get your home and yard ready for fall. At Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Colby and Goodland, they've got you covered. From all-season ultimate fertilizer and building materials to cozy patio heaters and furniture. Fire up family meals with a Traeger grill or Blackstone griddle, and give your home a new look with Benjamin Moore paints. Whatever your project, big or small, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware is here to help. That's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Your community, your projects, your ace.
When fraud strikes, every second counts. At FNB Bank, we take your security seriously. Our local team monitors for suspicious activity and responds fast, so small issues don't turn into bigger problems. I'm Jessica Von Little at FNB Bank. We are your first line of defense, protecting you, your money, and your peace of mind. FNB Bank, local, trusted, here for you. Member FDIC.
Summer's ending, school's here, and Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland has the trucks to keep you moving. A 2025 Sierra 3500 Pro, $1,000 purchase allowance or 3.9% for 48 months. A 3500 Denali, $2,000 purchase allowance or 3.9%. Or Sierra 1500 over a $6,000 purchase allowance or 0% APR for 36 months. Make this school year the smoothest ride yet. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, or shop online anytime at hurlchev.com.
You're tuned in to the Morning Blitz
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
with Ross Volkmer.
All right, just a couple minutes left to go here in the program today. Thanks again to Riley Gates. Great to visit with him and get his thoughts as college football gets going here tomorrow morning. The weekend slate ahead, well, it's a busy one. I mentioned, you've got high school volleyball jamborees tonight. At least Goodland and Colby are competing at Phillipsburg. I know there's some jamborees a little bit later on, but a jamboree tonight. You got the Colby Community College volleyball team tipping off their season down in Midland, Texas, with a classic they're going to there. Of course, Royals and Rockies continue to play their seasons. Rockies lost 9-5 yesterday. They opened up a series this weekend in Pittsburgh. Listen to that all on AM 730 KLOE, starting this afternoon, I should say. This evening at 4:40 Mountain Time, actually. And then Vinny Pasquantino, red hot. Now is homered in 4 straight games. It's one shy of a club record. Kansas City went 8-2 on their homestand. They now go to Detroit, a huge series against the Tigers in Detroit, the AL Central leading Tigers. That is a 6:10 Central Time first pitch on AM 790 KXXX. The Royals are now 2 games back in the wild card. So everything on the line for Kansas City as they have a huge weekend series against the Tigers. And, of course, catch K-State on 100.3 The Ride, KU on Flyover Country 97.9. Tonight you've got Chiefs and Bears on 100.3 The Ride. Huge game, I think. The starters are going to play for Kansas City, and I'm intrigued to see how important is it for the starters to look good. The Bears certainly look good their last game against the Bills, and I think the Bears starters are going to start as well. I'm super intrigued to see that and how that game shakes out a little bit early on, even though it's still the preseason. Broncos and Saints, same thing. How much will Bo Nix play? The starters play. Will that offense look a little bit better? The backups have looked good. The offense has looked a little average. Can the starters look a little bit better? That's going on Saturday. I list that right here on Goodland's Rocket 1025. So, yeah, there you go. It's a full weekend slate, folks. Lots of things happening, that's for sure, as we get sports rocking here in the fall of 2025.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
And I mentioned it really early in the show, but I tell you can't forget tonight, if you want to watch something that's highly entertaining, you'll want to tune in and watch the AVCA First Serve that's happening up in Lincoln, Nebraska. I mean, you talk about some big-time volleyball. I'm going to pull this up here real quick. The AVCA, of course, this did it this way. AVCA First Serve schedule. This is a crazy schedule for the AVCA. So tonight you've got number 1 Nebraska versus number 3 Pittsburgh, number 6 Stanford versus number 16 Florida. You've got Saturday, number 15, Kansas versus Vanderbilt, number 2, Penn State versus number 12, Creighton. It's an amazing grouping of teams, and it's going to be highly, highly competitive, and the crowds are going to be great up there in the state that just absolutely loves their volleyball. So the First Serve happening, you can watch the games tonight on Fox, on Big Fox, not FS1, not Fox Plus or Fox Streaming. No, Fox. You can watch Nebraska, Pitt, and Stanford, Florida. So some great volleyball tonight on top of course, the Chiefs and the Bears all that great stuff. So look forward to seeing how that all shakes out. Have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy the football. I know I will. And the cooler temperatures as well. Sunny and 90 today, but cooler temperatures starting tomorrow through the weekend. Enjoy that too. We'll see you back here on Monday. It's been the Blitz. Thanks again.
Classic rock plays here. This is Rocket 102.5 KKC.